Yeah, go ahead.
On Ukraine, unless there's other Middle East.
Yeah.
This morning, Ambassador Linda Thomas-Greenfield described President Zelensky's victory plan. First, she confirmed that the U.S. has seen it, and she said it lays out a strategy and a plan that can work. I just want to confirm first that Maine State Department has also seen the plan and shares this view.
We were briefed on elements of the plan when we were in Kyiv last week, and yes, we share the Ambassador Thomas Greenfield's assessment. As President Zelensky has said, he looks forward to presenting that plan in detail to the president in the coming days and weeks, and I think we'll await that meeting before offering any kind of further conclusions about it.
Is there a timeline associated with the implementation of the plan?
I think I ought to let President Zelensky, whose plan ultimately this is, speak to the details of it.
Okay, and on the question of Ukraine's use of long-range American-provided missiles in Russia, Secretary and Foreign Secretary Lammy said that discussions would continue during the UN General Assembly next week. First, want to confirm you have no policy announcements to make today.
Correct.
Regarding that. So if indeed this decision hasn't been made and hasn't been made tacitly, is it the U.S. view that the Ukrainians don't need this capability urgently enough that it merits additional weeks of discussion?
I don't think you should draw any conclusions about us conducting the type of deliberate process that we have always conducted when it comes to providing Ukraine the tactical assistance they need, providing them the capabilities that they need to win this war. The Secretary spoke to this, and well, you were on the trip, you don't want to hear me repeat what he said about how we have to be deliberate and careful, and ultimately make sure that with everything that we provide them, there's a strategic rationale for doing so, and so we continue to engage in that process with them.
Absolutely, but you and the Secretary have described this as a critical point for the Ukrainians, a pivotal point on the battlefield as well. So there's no concern about the length of this deliberative process regarding this one policy.
No. As you've heard the Secretary of Defense say, there is no one capability that ultimately by itself is the magic wand that is decisive in this conflict. There are a number of different capabilities that taken together can help Ukraine win this war, and that's what we continue to provide them, and we will continue to assess whether there are additional capabilities, additional tactics, additional techniques that we ought to provide to them, and when we assess that it is in their interest, in the interest of the United States to do so, we'll do so.
And just one additional point of attempted clarification. Is it the U.S. position that other Western countries who have provided long-range weapons to Ukraine should wait for consensus before they greenlight the use of their own weapons by the Ukrainians?
So those are conversations that we have privately, and I think I'll keep those conversations in private diplomatic channels. Alex.
Let me follow up on Olivia's question. The announcement and decision. So you don't have announcement to make, but that doesn't mean that there is no decision.
I just don't have any announcement about change in policy.
Have you guys turned down Ukraine's request on?
I don't have any further. I don't have anything further to say. These are things that we discussed directly with our Ukrainian counterparts, and we'll continue to do so.
But the Secretary said in Kyiv, and also you repeated yesterday, that you guys want Ukraine to win. How do you expect them to win with one hand tied behind?
We expect them to win by continuing to provide them the billions of dollars in security assistance that we have provided them since the outset of this conflict, the type of security assistance that, along with brave Ukrainian fighting, has led them to recapture a majority of the territory that they lost to Ukraine in the early days of the war. Lost to Russia, excuse me, thank you, Matt. That they lost to Russia in the early days of war, the capabilities that have led them to win the battles of Kyiv and Kharkiv and Kherson, and have led them to push Russia back from the Black Sea. Those are the types of policies that have shown success that we will continue to pursue.
Thank you. We just discussed Iran minutes ago. Russia's Shoigu happened to be in Iran today. Do you have any evidence that the missiles that they have provided have been used on the battlefield?
I don't have an assessment to offer of them having been deployed yet. Obviously, as you heard the Secretary announce, we have seen them be delivered to Iran. I do not yet have an assessment. Russia, man, I'm all over the place. To Russia, I do not yet have an assessment of them having been used on the battlefield.
And I also want to follow up on what you just told my colleagues about Iran's capabilities, nuclear capabilities. We have seen reports that some of them are very compelling, suggesting that Iran might have nuclear capabilities before the end of this administration. If that's true, why should we trust any word coming out of Iranian president's mouth?
So give me a break with it if that's true. It's not, so you're going to take a report that has not been verified and say if that's true. It continues to be our policy that Iran will not get a nuclear weapon, and we are committed to that.
Thank you. I have one more on Georgia, if I may.
Let me go. Only because we're short. Let me go.
Thank you. U.S. has imposed sanctions on a Chinese research institute and several companies involved in supplying Pakistan ballistic missile